All right, guys, let's get into those top prospects who have taken a look at the Alabama Crimson Tide this season. And the first guy we're going to talk about, and I just mentioned him, is Kayvon Thibodeaux. So this guy is a total stud. He's from Thousand Oaks, California. He's the #1 overall recruit, the #1 weak side defensive end, and the #1 guy coming out of California. And it doesn't get much bigger than him. So he said Alabama is definitely his top school, and he hopes to return for an official visit soon in a couple of weeks, which would be more than likely his last visit before making a decision. Up next, we have Nolan Smith, and he is set to return to Alabama this weekend for the second time this year. After he was on campus back in February, the 5-star UGA commit gave the glowing reviews of the Tide and said Alabama would be the team to beat if he were to decommit from Georgia down the line, which is definitely something that could happen. Now, keep in mind, Smith made a fake decommitment from the Bulldogs back on April Fool's Day, so there's no question he's having fun with his recruiting process. Up next, we have Devontae Dobbs, the 5-star offensive tackle from Michigan, and he's a top offensive lineman in America. And he was back at Alabama last week with his high school teammates. The trip marked the 3rd visit to Tuscaloosa, I like the sound of that, in the last 12 months for the Michigan native. And of the Tide, Dobbs says he thinks they are the whole package. Up next, we have Webb, the 5-star center from Alabama. And if you follow Alabama recruiting, you would be surprised if Webb ended up anywhere else but Tuscaloosa. The nation's top center visited the campus last weekend and plans to be back again this weekend for A-Day. Webb is being recruited by close friends and Alabama commit Pierce Quick and Paul Tyson. Up next, we have Derek Stingley, the 5-star corner from Louisiana. Now, he was a one-time LSU commit, but then he visited Tuscaloosa early this year, but then released a top 6 did not include the Tide just a few weeks ago. However, things can change very quickly. Last February, now Tide signee Jalen Armour-Davis did not include Alabama in his top 6 either. For now, though, UA faces an uphill climb if they hope to land Stingley. All right, up next, we have Darnell, Wright, the 5-star offensive tackle from West Virginia. He's the nation's #3 offensive tackle, and he'll be back again for A-Day this weekend. Wright was last on campus for the Champions Cookout in July. He's had a lot of interest from the Tide, and he's one of the handful of elite prospects that the Tide has honed in on for the offensive line in 2019. Next up, we have Nakobe Dean, the 5-star inside linebacker from Mississippi. He's arguably Alabama's top inside linebacker target, and he has visited 2 separate occasions so far this spring and is currently trending the Tide on 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball. He's the nation's #2 inside linebacker, and he doesn't plan on making the decision to this fall, but the Tide looks to be in good position as it stands. Up next, we have Faatui Tuitele. I've talked about him before. He's a 5-star defensive tackle from Hawaii. He's the nation's #2 defensive tackle, and he made his inaugural visit to Alabama last weekend. He's not only the former teammate of UA quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, but he's also a distant cousin of him, something that should benefit the Tide in the race for Tuitele's signature. I want to quickly bring up a reaction poll before I sign off. Predict where you see the Alabama's 2019 class ranking come National Signing Day next year. So you think it's going to be #1? Give me a heart. Top 3, you don't think we're quite going to be there yet? Give me a thumbs up. Top 5, give me a wow face. And you think it's just going to be top 10, which we can all laugh at, throw out that ha-ha face.